Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to discuss the steps we took to start this new life of slow traveling after we sold everything, got rid of everything. We're going to talk about the steps we took to make all this happen. So the first step we took was a lot of conversations and a lot of research. So since we met, we've talked about retiring and traveling abroad, different countries, seeing the world. So 4 years later, here we are. But we did a lot of research through different publications. I subscribed to a publication called International Living. Watched a lot of videos on YouTube about people that are actually doing it. And they've been in place for years and years. And just a lot of online material. So it took us a while to get to this point, 4 years to be exact. But we finally made it. Second step that we took was checking out visas, tourist visas, potential retirement visas, just seeing how easy would it be for us to go to certain places. And that was done through watching a lot of YouTube videos, reading some online publications, going through the State Department, going to the embassy websites for each country, for our country, the US. Just seeing what was required to travel to certain countries, how long could we stay, did we need to apply for a visa or were we granted a visa with our passport. And that's kind of how we chose where to start. I actually started in Canada, then went to Mexico, and now we're here in Thailand. So we didn't just pick these places arbitrarily. It was based on how easy would it be for us to enter the country and how long could we stay in each country.
Yeah. And I also think that for our lifestyle, weather had a lot to do with it. We love the warm weather. We like the beaches. So we knew that an area that got cold was probably not going to be a choice for us. So you have to kind of research those things, what works for you, and decide on the location, the ease of getting into the country. We also are traveling with our dog, which is another challenge, which we'll do a whole video about that. But places that, that would be good for our pet. Mexico City was wonderful when we were there. The weather was really nice. But we're in Thailand now, and we're down in the islands part of it, and which that seems to be for us. So those things you have to talk with your partner, kind of see where you would like to live, what you think you would like, and sometimes just experiencing that may change your mind into what you think, into what you really, really do enjoy.
Number 3, make a decision, which took us a long time to make a decision. A lot goes into it, a lot of overcoming fears, anxiety, thinking about the finances of it all, but making a decision and then going forward. And so that was a big step for us. We made the decision, things had to play out, and they did play out, and here we are.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. I'm more of the passive one. Carl is more of the go-getter, thank goodness, or else I would probably still be thinking about it. But making that decision, be like, okay, we're tired of talking about it, tired of the 9 to 5, tired of the grind. Let's do it. It sounds crazy, but let's just commit to it. Let's do it. What's the worst that can happen? Go back to what we already know. So let's go have this adventure. So that is one of the biggest steps, is actually taking that leap of faith and actually doing it.
And I think one of the things that scares people is getting rid of stuff. And we got rid of a lot of stuff except for a car. And just think about it. Everything we got rid of, we could go get it all over again. There was nothing that's not replaceable that we got rid of. It's all replaceable. And now that it's gone, you realize you didn't really care that much about it. It was nice to have. Houses, cars, clothes, furniture is all great. But guess what? Worst case scenario, we can go get it all over again.
The next step that we took was, after you make that decision, you have to talk to your family, talk to your friends. whoever that circle is for you, you have to tell them what you're planning. For us, it was something we constantly talked about since we've met. We constantly talked about it with our children and our family. So they were aware, but really making that like, this is what we're doing, this is our timeline, it's coming. So just want to prepare you for that. Having those discussions with your parents, with your children in particular, for us, it can be difficult. But that's one of the very, very important tasks on this very long task list, is talking with your family.
Yeah, we talked about it so much. They knew we wanted to do it. I don't think they ever thought we were going to do it. And then one day we told them that it was actually happening. And so luckily it wasn't a shocker to them. It may have been a shock that we're actually going to do it and stop talking about it. But we finally made a decision to do it after a whole lot of planning, whole lot of talking, whole lot of looking things up, researching. But don't blindside your family. We made sure we did not talk with them about your plans, gain their support and keep them informed. And that was a big step.
Mm-hmm.
This topic we'll probably spend more time because this is the part that keeps people from going for it. This is what you can consider the barrier to entry. Money, finances, budget, bills. This is what took us so long because, like my wife said, she's very cautious. She tends to go on the overly cautious side. We have the benefit of being retired from a line of work. So we have income coming in, and we also have other streams of income coming in as well. So we're in a position where we could afford to do this if we just took the leap of faith. Because during all the research, we realized that America is one of the most expensive places to live on earth. So once we got to other countries, our money would take us very far, and it's proven true. So what did we go through? Each and every bill that we had. Each and every bill, from the Netflix subscription to the mortgage, cars, you name it. I'll let her go into it because this is her field of expertise.
We did. We went through every single bill. A lot like that commercial, that Rocket Money commercial, where you have no idea what you're paying for subscriptions. We went down to all of the internet charges for golf games for our children, to subscriptions for magazines, radio, like how many radio subscriptions do you need? And we started cutting out all of the fluff. We knew that our income was going to change. So our expenditures had to change. Like, we had to start cutting all of the fluff out, get down to what do we really need, and start making those adjustments slowly. So that took a while. It took some planning, to pay off cars for your children, or to help them get on their own. So it takes a lot of planning to do that. And that's a really big step, is to take a good look at your finances, what they are now, what they're going to be when you finally make this step. Cut out everything that you don't need. And there's going to be some difficult things to let go of, but it's a big step, and it's also very freeing. So
Yeah, it was eye-opening, realizing, here's one thing we did realize right away. We realized that the only reason we were working was to maintain the lifestyle we were living before we started slow traveling. So everything we had that was a product of us feeling like we had to live a certain lifestyle. And the only reason why we were working was to pay for a lifestyle. And it wasn't what we wanted to do. It wasn't where we wanted to end up being. We knew we weren't going to retire in the house that we had. We knew that wasn't our last destination. We knew all along it was temporary. So just thinking about all that stuff, thinking about how we were going to work just to pay bills for the expenses for the lifestyle we were living. We weren't raising any more kids. We didn't have kids in elementary school, middle school, high school. We didn't have that anymore. So it was just us primarily working just to maintain a lifestyle in a very nice home, 2 cars, everything that goes along with it. And once we got rid of that stuff and started looking at our monthly finances, we can do whatever we want now, anywhere we want now. We can go to different countries, have a nice place to stay in while we're visiting those countries, not having to worry about the life back at home that we're still paying for. We have no storage unit. We have a car, but the car is on Turo now, being managed by another company. So hopefully that becomes an asset and not a liability. But getting rid of all of your stuff, not putting stuff in storage because it's all replaceable, is going to change the game for you. Going to give you a whole lot of feelings of freedom, 100%. So, when to notify your employers that you're leaving? Yeah, that was very difficult, but it was easy. It was easy because we knew we didn't want to work anymore full time, besides working for ourselves like we do now. It was difficult because of the relationships. I work with very nice people that were good to me, great to me. I love going to work every day. It was never a terrible thing to do. So how do we go about it? When do we go about it? We notified our jobs when we had a closing date on our house, not when we had a contract on our house. When we actually had the closing date, when we knew we were actually selling the house, neither side could back out any longer. That's when we notified our jobs. We didn't do it before. We didn't give them a heads up, because the worst thing you can do is put the cart before the horse. So we kept going to work like normal. Even though some people on my job knew I had a plan of retiring from full-time work and slow traveling the world. Some people knew that at my job, but it wasn't like it was tentative. So we didn't quit our jobs until we got the final closing date from the title company. We knew it was happening. Then we made our notifications.
Yes, I mean, I definitely agree. I'm also another one who I've always loved my job. I've loved going to work. I work with awesome people. Well, I worked at one place for over 25 years. I've created a lot of relationships. Had some new jobs that I started, and those people taught me so much, invested in me. So it's definitely a difficult decision to do, to put in that notice. I think that we're kind of geared that way to be loyal, at least our generation, to stay at a job for a long time, to be loyal to that one company, and to work there for a very long time. So giving that notice and taking kind of like that detour, it was hard, but it was we had to do it, and is one of the steps, is notifying your employer. And it may have come to a shock for some that didn't see that coming, but transparency is always good. And once you do it, you have like a lot of it gives you a lot of freedom just to have that step taken care of.
And then there's the release of all the stress you didn't know you had on yourself. The day after it was all over, no longer going to work, it was a new life. A new life. It was refreshing. Coffee tastes better. Breakfast tastes better. Or walking around the neighborhood it felt better. So that was a lot of freedom just in doing that. And you heard us mention the house. So we have a very good relationship with a friend of ours, Carrie of Marshview Realty, and we've worked with her quite a few times. We sold houses with her. We bought this house with her. So we gave her a heads up, and she did her market, research, and we put the house for sale. And we were kind of on the cusp of when the market was changing a little bit. It was starting to dry up just a little bit. It was taking houses a little longer to sell than what we had experienced 2.5 years ago when we sold both of our homes. When we first got together, we sold both of our homes in less than 2 weeks. This experience was a whole lot different. And luckily we kept our home in a state where it was always ready to sell, because we kind of knew one day it was going up for sale. And so working with Carrie, which is always a pleasure. If you live in the North Florida area, you definitely want to work with Carrie Halter. We'll put her information in the comments. But that was a big step, having a house listed for sale. And it took maybe about a month to get that contract. But once we got that contract, things were going. They flew. And so that was a big step. When you put that house for sale and you get that contract, you know there's no return. So, I mean, that's when it got real. When that house went for sale, that's when it was real for us. That's when we knew we were doing this. When we told our family, hey, we're putting the house up for sale tomorrow, I think everyone knew that we were serious and it was really going to happen. So listing your house for sale is a big step. Some people may choose to rent it. Mm-hmm. Some people may choose to make it a Airbnb, whatever you're choosing. Yeah. We wanted to eliminate all of that. We weren't going to ever return to the house in our mind. We were never coming back to the house. So we wanted to just put it on the market, and hopefully the market, there was a market for the house, and luckily we had a market for the house.
Yeah, I would say that we went back and forth between keeping it and renting it out and selling it. I feel like that renting it out was like that safety net we were trying to create for ourselves if this didn't work out. But in reality, also our main goal was to be debt free, to get, free ourselves of all of the debt, all of kind of like that responsibility that ties you down. So we finally decided just to sell it. I mean, if we want to buy a house again, we'll buy another house. But we just wanted that freedom of not having something anchoring us back to where we came from the States. And it's definitely very freeing getting rid of everything. And I would say once we got that contract on the house, it was like go mode. Like we had been slowly preparing ourselves in this, but when we got that contract, you have I think we had 2 weeks, 3 weeks? I mean, 30 days is typical. I think we had less than that. And that is go time. That is when you're really starting to sell your car, get rid of your furniture, try to offload everything. I think we made about 10 trips to Goodwill, just getting rid of everything. But yeah, putting your house on the market or subleasing your place, getting out of your lease if you're renting, all of those things, that's a big step, trying to figure that out and the timing.
And with the cars, so we had 2 cars, and I had no idea you could sell a car on Facebook Marketplace. So we sold our car on Facebook Marketplace in one day, which was remarkable. One day. I never knew that was a thing. But you can't sell a purse on Facebook Marketplace. But you can but you can't sell a Louis Vuitton purse, but you can definitely sell a car on Facebook Marketplace. We sold our car today, so we were very fortunate with that. Like I mentioned earlier, we kept one car because we do have to come back and forth. And the whole thing with equity, negative equity, we didn't want to have to pay for the negative equity in one car. So it is on Turo in Atlanta. So Atlanta is the world's busiest airport. There's a company that manages it for us, and hopefully that we at least break even and hopefully turn a profit with that. All right, next step is to get rid of everything you're not taking with you. We did discuss how we're doing 2 backpacks and a golf bag and 2 backpacks and a dog. So that means everything else that we own, we had to get rid of one way or another. And so one way we got rid of stuff is through our kids. We had a lot of stuff that they love to have, and they came with U-Haul, or they came with some buddies, and everything they wanted, they came and took. From beds, recliners, entertainment centers, you name it. They came and got beds, they came and got everything they wanted, and it worked out great. Another way we got rid of stuff was by going to Goodwill. I think you said we made about 10 trips to Goodwill?
Yeah, about 10 trips to Goodwill. I did do some consignment stuff for my clothes, but it was too time consuming, honestly. So we just donated that to Goodwill. About 10 trips of clothes and shoes and jackets and a lot of that. And then for some our big furniture that was probably too big for our kids to fit into where they were living, we did a consignment shop, and that was refreshed home furnishings. So they came, they evaluated our furniture, they arranged for movers to come and get it, and then they showcased it in their showroom, and it's on consignment. And so that is the way that we got rid of all of our stuff. And we sold one car, which was my car, and then Carl's car we put on Turo.
Something we learned along the way through watching videos was, how do you get your mail? How do you get packages? What's your address? So we signed up with a virtual mailbox, and there are plenty of them all around the country in the US. You just have to pick out which one is best for you, which package is best for you. We went with a company called Anytime Mailbox, and we picked a specific location in Jacksonville, Florida, where we could have someone pick up stuff if we needed it picked up. If they need to forward us something, they need to scan something for us to see what it is. They need to shred garbage mail. They take care of it all. We get an email every day, or we downloaded the app so we can see what's in our mailbox every day, and we make a decision on what to do with that mail every day. And so it's really convenient. We changed our driver's licenses to that virtual mailbox address, changed our business address to that virtual mailbox address. And it's an actual physical location, but it just takes care of all of our mail, and we can get it through the app or by email or logging in online, and we make a decision on what we want to do with that email from there. And the company we signed up with, they'll ship whatever it is that we need. If we want them to ship it to us, they'll ship it to us for a fee. So far, we haven't had to do that, but if we need to, we can have that done. So that's virtual mailbox. That's how you get your mail. That's how you stay in touch with the rest of the world, so to speak. If most of your bills nowadays are online anyway. So just in case there's something that comes by mail or a package, you have a virtual mailbox, and that's how we took care of that. But you'll definitely need a virtual mailbox if you decide to do the slow travel thing, because you're not going to be in a place long enough to have something shipped halfway around the world in a timely manner. So virtual mailbox, way to go. The old cell phone plan, just watching a bunch of videos, we realized that we're paying a whole lot in the US for our cell phone plans compared to what some countries are paying for their cell phone plans. A lot of people that are traveling get eSIMs whenever they hit certain countries. We actually happen to have T-Mobile, so our phone plan includes international plans for most countries. So where we are, for instance, in Thailand, it's included in our plan for unlimited data to a certain extent. So basically, we have people call us using WhatsApp or FaceTime audio. If we have to make a regular cellular call, we'll do it, but it costs us 25 cents a minute. Or we could sign up for an eSIM. We actually looked in the Bangkok airport and made a decision not to do it. When we're in Mexico and Canada, it works as if you're in the US, so we didn't have to do anything special because of our phone plan with T-Mobile. But if we were to go somewhere else, you never know. We may have to do an eSIM, and just all the information we've received, people get eSIMs in certain countries to give them better access, better coverage. We haven't done it yet. We don't know what the future may hold, but we've kind of minimized all the extra stuff we had on our cell phone plan. So it's, just a regular, I guess, for us, it's a economical phone plan that we have right now. So we haven't jumped into the eSIM yet over here in Thailand, but who knows down the road? Who knows what we'll end up doing? So one thing about traveling, being an expat, is that you need healthcare outside of the U.S. And so you're going to have to get a healthcare plan that's going to cover you while you're traveling. So watching videos, looking online. The best plan that we found for us is Safety Wing. And we have a healthcare plan through Safety Wing. Pretty much reimburses you for all expenses up to a certain amount, which we would never be able to hit. And based on all information we read, healthcare is very affordable abroad compared to what the healthcare plans are that we're used to in the US. So we signed up for Safety Wing, and because of our age, we pay a little more than if you were young, but it's still less than what we were paying through our previous employers. So we're still coming out on top. It's just an added monthly expense, but it's necessary just in case something happens. We can be reimbursed 100%.
Yep, and that's around $200, a little over $200 a month for both of us.
Last thing we're going to discuss is our little pup, Benny the Berndoodle. So different countries require different things. So one thing we did learn is that your dog has to be trained, okay? If you have any kind of disability or type of illness, you may qualify to have a service animal. So we have our dog trained to be a service dog, and it allows you certain benefits on airlines if you're traveling a short distance, a reasonable distance on an airplane, where a dog won't be too frustrated by not having food or water or being able to run around. So for instance, when we flew to Mexico, he flew with us in cabin as a service animal. But now that we're here in Thailand, he hasn't made it yet because Thailand has a lot of requirements, and that's country by country. What requirements are there for dogs to enter the country? Thailand is a lot more strict than, let's say, the U.S. or Mexico or the European Union. So we thought it'd be best to hire a pet travel company to help us get our dog here, which has been a big ordeal that we're going to discuss in a whole different video. But let's just say that the USDA is involved, the country where you're going is involved, and it's quite complex and quite expensive. So we'll go into that down the road, but it takes a lot, and you need to do that as early as possible. As soon as you know you're going to start traveling, go ahead and start working with a pet travel company. Or if you want to take on the task of doing it yourself, which we do not advise whatsoever, do not try to do this on your own. Look into pet travel companies, see which one is going to be best for you, and start as early as possible.
Yeah, I would agree with that. We went to Canada and we went to Mexico with our dog. That was very easy. You just had to show proof of vaccinations and rabies. There was no health certificate that was needed, just the vaccination record and rabies. That was easy to get in and out of country with. We did find out we were flying back to the U.S. from Mexico that there was a CDC, a new form that started August 2nd, and our flight was August 2nd. So we were the first people in the Mexico City International Airport that had to fill out this form for the CDC. Easy form. We did it real quick. Carl did it online. We got a response back that we were okay to enter into the U.S. Per the CDC. So Mexico, Canada was easy for us. I believe Europe, the European Union, is fairly easy, but flying over to Asia, a lot of requirements, and we did need the help of a pet travel company, which is Pet Express, and they've been great. And yeah, so we'll do a whole video about that later on.
Quite complicated, but start that as early as possible.
Yep, and that was it's a step for us to get ready to slow travel, was getting our dog prepared.
Okay, those are most of the steps that we took to start the adventure of slow traveling, selling everything, and what steps we took to make this all happen. If we didn't mention something that you have a question about, please leave it in the comments and we'll address it. And we may address it just in the comments, or it may be part of another video down the road. But it was quite a journey, and the worst thing that can happen is that you go back where you came from and you start all over again where you left off. Best thing that can happen is you can enjoy you can enjoy life and have a great time like we're doing so far, and not look back and not regret anything that we've done to this point as far as our travels and selling everything. You have any regrets about any of that stuff?
No.
No, I don't think so.
No.
I don't know if you can see the backdrop, but this is our Airbnb here in Thailand, and we'll talk about that in another video as well. What our money has been able to do for us being abroad versus what we could afford to do being home, and we had a very nice income, very nice life, but you could do so much more out here slow traveling abroad. So thank you for watching, and hit the like button, subscribe, and make sure you're notified of our next upcoming videos. Thank you very much.
Bye.